Okay, so two major things happen in Genesis chapter 32. One of them is a story that gets talked about in church all the time. It's like a very common Genesis story that gets brought up. Not like the most common, but it's up there with, it's a repeater. It's one that you hear multiple times throughout your life if you go to church. But the first thing Jacob does is he finds out that he's on his way to meeting Esau, the brother that he stole the birthright and the blessing from his father Isaac, from their father Isaac, because they're twin brothers. And so he sends all these gifts, all this stuff ahead of him to try and pacify Esau, because he finds out Esau has 400 people with him, like an army. So Jacob's like, well, all of my actions are catching up with me. And he tells all of his messengers, please tell Esau this is from his servant Jacob. He's trying to grovel now. He's trying to be like, oh, I'm so sorry, Esau. I'm so sorry. I ruined your entire life. Here are a bunch of donkeys and goats and camels. He has like literally 20 to 30 of each. He names several different animals, many different slaves. He's a rich dude. Honestly, he's set up really well, and he's just trying to save himself. Pretty much everything he does is motivated by selfishness. He has not helped anyone else so far in the Bible. It's all about himself. He even like tells God, please don't let Esau, he quotes God to God. He says, remember how you would make me prosperous? Remember how you said my numbers would be as many as grains of sand from the beach? He goes, don't let him kill me. You promised I would have offspring. And he does already. I don't know why he's even making that argument. Like, Jacob no longer needs to be alive. God could just make his offspring flourish. But whatever. The big thing that happens in this chapter is Jacob wrestles with God. That's the story that gets talked about a lot in churches. And there's a few weird things here. God is not actually named at all by the man he wrestles with. He is called the man. Jacob sends everyone away from him for some reason, sends them, I think, across the river is what it says. And it says, so Jacob was left alone, and a man wrestled with him until daybreak. That's all you find out. And I don't know why they wrestle all night. That'd be exhausting, first of all. You don't know why they're wrestling, second of all. And they wrestle until daybreak. They wrestle all throughout the night. Some guy he finds. And then it says the guy touched his hip and wrenched it. So I think that means it was like thrown from its socket or something, or he messed up the tendon, because they mentioned tendons in just a second. That's going to be a weirdly relevant thing that comes up in just a moment. He asks the man for his name. The man doesn't tell him his name, but he blesses him. And then Jacob leaves and says, I saw God face to face. That's just his claim after he wrestles some dude all night. God is not confirmed or named. It says it in the title. It says it in the title of the section. And Jacob says, I saw God, but otherwise he's just described as a man. And there's two strange things about this. One of them is that Jacob says, I saw God face to face, but there's a later story in the Bible, and I can't remember if this is, I think it's Moses. I'm not completely sure. Moses goes up onto a mountain and he wants to see God's face. It might be a different character. I'm qualifying that. And he goes, hey, let's just say Moses. And he goes, hey, God, let me see your face. God says, no, my face is too holy. You would die. And so he turns and he shows him his back instead, because his back, it's bright. Ow, ooh, God's bright back. But it won't kill him because it's not his face. But then here in this, Jacob is saying he saw God face to face. He wrestled with him, saw him face to face. So what's going on there? I feel like people will say, oh, it's a human form, so it's not as holy. To me, that's just like a weird excuse and not a very strong argument. It's odd that his image would not kill Jacob in this case, but then it would in another. I don't know. That's strange to me. I don't feel like that's hard to admit, even if you're a Christian. The other weird thing is that it says, because of all of this, it says, therefore, to this day, Israelites do not eat the tendon that is attached to the socket of the hip. So when they eat food, they don't eat the tendon, because apparently that's the socket of Jacob's hip that was touched near the tendon. So for whatever reason, I don't understand that line of reasoning. Like, what, I get that it's a reference. I understand, okay, that's the same tendon that Jacob had touched, but why would that cause you not to eat it in animals after that? Especially when calories are scarce and you might not know where your next meal is coming from, and meat is a rich and rare resource. I don't know. So much doesn't make sense. If you have any theories or any knowledge about anything I mentioned, please let me know. I'll read it. I'll check it out because I'm curious and I want to know.